Hello, welcome to Make Boss Capital channel. My name is Michael Chu. This is market recap video for the stock market ending week of July 5th, 2024. So this week we did have a holiday on Thursday for Independence Day in the US. And well, let's see what happened here. Monday, we have the US Purchasing Index take up 3-month high, 51.6, better than 51.3 in May, which signal a modestly improvement in business conditions. However, home builders got knocked, falling 1.6% and jump in long-term interest rates. So here is the S&P Home Builders ETF here. You can see it's hitting new low. It also broke the previous low here on the base. So this is not a good sign. We have a downtrend going down right now. So home builders are not doing great. So that's not good news for the economy in the US. This is Toll Brothers. You can see hitting new low right here. Then we have Lennar also hitting new low. So not good news. And then we have Pulte also hitting pretty much near the low here this week. And then we have DR Horton. So they didn't make new low on Friday, so maybe there's some potential sign of a short-term rebound here. But again, the overall trend is downtrend right now. So be careful of this downtrend because it could continue for longer term. But yeah, overall, like, you know, the home builders are not doing well, which is not a good sign for the economy. So on Wednesday was a shortened session. Breadth improved slightly on Wednesday. Tech stocks continue to outperform. XLK rose nearly 1.4%, also hitting a new high. Semiconductors definitely top performing group. NVDA rose 4% as it bounced back from the 21-day moving average. Broadcom, Taiwan Semiconductor, they're all doing well. Also, mining, steel, and other metal stocks are also outperform as precious metals rally. So this could be a sector to watch for emerging leadership. Gold rose here on that day, 23.59. So a lackluster economy data plus a weaker US dollar and Treasury yield sent gold to its best day since April 5th. Silver also jumped 4.1% to $30.54. So copper also gained on 2.5%, largest gain since May 17. So XME, which is the mining stock, is doing really well. So let's just jump to that for a second. So you can see right now, you know, it's been on a long-term base structure here, base, another base here. This is the, again, metals mining ETF here, but it has rebound right now for about 6-7 sessions. It did close down on Friday, but the uptrend still intact. So yeah, see if this thing will emerge. So we jump to gold. So gold make a new high, closing high on Friday. Not closing high, but like recent closing high here. So that looks really good. And you know, it's not far from this previous high as well, 225. Right now it's 220. So yeah, a few points away. So if this breaks out from this base, it could be very bullish. So previously we have this run right here, which is a very strong run. So yeah, it could if it breaks out, it could go, you know, at that 45-degree angle. So watch out for those. And then let's jump to copper. So copper, again, like right now you can see it's rebounding from this correction here. We had a strong run previously, and now it's running pretty strong again. So again, this is rebounding right now. So yeah, gold, copper doing really well. I think silver is also doing well. So the silver, long consolidation base here came out a little bit. So silver hasn't moved as much as gold and copper, but now it's again same thing, having an uptrend right now, pretty strong. So we'll see how this one goes. Talk more about the specific stocks in this group that may be up and rising in the following video. Make sure you follow that next video. So on Friday, Thursday was holiday, so Friday the market closed at record levels after the latest job report boosts hopes of interest rate cuts. So Nasdaq is now 8.3% above its 50-day line, increasingly extended. So that's something to be aware of. The last time it was around that 8% was June 17, and it staged for 2 weeks of sideways action. So the odds of pause or pullback are elevated again. So pay attention to that. So right now on the weekly Nasdaq, we have this uptrend going since 2022, and then recently since April we have this uptrend here, 11 weeks up now. So in general, IBD research show like roughly rally lasts around 14 to 18 weeks. So we are getting closer to the lower end, the 14 weeks. Now, there's a lot of talk by different analysts that potentially we may have a correction either before the earnings season, so maybe in 1 or 2 weeks from now, possibly, or towards the end of the month, or after the earnings season, so maybe closer to like mid-August or to late August. So something to be aware of, and the reason basically is if earnings are good, then obviously it could rise, right? All the stocks that are doing well will continue to rise, but depending where, you have to see whether they're extended or not. If they're extended, probably time to take some profit. If they didn't do well, then most likely the stocks will start to fall, and then watch for the reaction. That's always the most important thing. If they close down very strong and then bounce back up within the next day, usually that's not a good sign. But some stocks will fall and then they'll come back up even intraday by the end of the day of close, or they even bounce back the next day. So those are things to watch out for. Yeah, so again, the trend is up right now, 11 weeks up, so you want to continue with that trend. And if you look at the daily, we have a really strong week because Nasdaq especially 4 days up on all 4 days, and yeah, we now above 18,000. You can see this time it passed 18,000. It hasn't pulled back yet, but if we do have a pullback or correction coming, it probably will pull back for sure to 18,000. Also, we are a little bit extended from the this red line, which is the 50-day moving average. You can see, you can look back, when the average get extended, close to 8% or less, it even start to pull back, right? So just be aware of that. This could happen very soon, because we are a little bit extended now. A very similar chart on the S&P. This is a weekly chart. Again, we are on the similar uptrend like Nasdaq, making new highs on the daily. Again, also we have strong 4 days week. Also breaking this 5,500 mark. So looking really good. But again, a little bit extended. From the 50-day. You can see here it tend to have a pullback after, or possibly even further drop than like a correction even, who knows. But so yeah, so beware of that. It's a little bit like over 5% now extended. So that's S&P. We know Nasdaq and SP continue to make new highs, but Dow and Russell hasn't. And that's the divergence there. We'll look at a divergence chart in a second. But you know, you see Dow has been like trying to break out to 40,000, but couldn't first right here. And right now it's slowly moving back up, but not much. You know, you can see it has no power. So you can see the RS line just continue to go down. So it's lagging the two other index. So yeah, something to pay attention to like this. The industrials are not doing as well. You know, it did close okay on Friday. We'll see. You know, this is the closing trend line here for recent days. So you can break above this, then yeah, that will be a good sign. Again, I don't know if this market, you know, gonna keep rotating. It's possible that Nasdaq and S&P will pull back while Dow and Russell will take the lead. And in the bull market, that's what usually happens. It just keep rotating. And so it is possible that Dow and Russell could come back up and test this, you know, previous 40,000 level mark here. But right now, you know, we'll see. It just has been really weak though in relative terms, right? You can see here. So Russell continued to be in a range bound. You can see the red line here on the weekly chart. It's just around the slightly above 2,000 level. Yeah, it's just, you know, kind of just fluctuate around this area. Hasn't done much, and that's the, you know, probably the worst index of the four. And on Friday, it actually dropped like 1%, but it did close near the top. So again, like this uptrend from the lows kind of broken on Friday. You know, you can see that. So that's a negative. And then we kind of see this on the upper channel line here. It's almost a pendant forming, but right now it looks a little bit negative because it did break that lower bottom. Now, it wasn't, even though it broke that channel line at the bottom, it didn't, you know, the market wasn't that too bad Friday from what I observed. Like, it wasn't like people sell all the small cap stocks. So that could be a plus, right? Like, you know, it wasn't as bad as I thought it could be. So that's a plus. But like I say, on the index chart here, it doesn't look that good. But it did bounce back, so that's the good news. So we'll see. Maybe you know, maybe it's still okay. Obviously now, you know, I can draw a lower trend line from that low. So it's, you know, you can still say the channel, as long as this index are holding here, there's a high chance, you know. So it's forming the pendant still. You know, we'll see what happens. Again, trading just kind of range bound in a sense, right? In this pendant formation. So hopefully, like I said, Russell can bounce back the following week. We'll see. So I charted here since around April and to now, July 5th. And this is the ETF for QQQ for Nasdaq, SPY for S&P, and Dow Jones DIA, and Russell IWM. And you can see the divergence here. You know, since roughly around mid-May, you can see Nasdaq has been, QQQ has been outperforming, up 12% since May, around mid-May, and SPY is up around almost 7%. And then Dow is actually only up 1%, and this is from April, and then IWM is down -1%. So you can see Russell hasn't performed at all this last since April, which is really not good. And then you know, QQQ represent most of the Nasdaq are up significantly, and S&P. So you can see. You know, QQQ and SPY has been hitting highs and stuff, and while Dow and Russell has kind of, you know, take a backseat, right? So I'm not sure if this will change. If we do have a pullback on the Nasdaq and SPY or S&P, I'm not sure what will happen to Dow and Russell, so we'll have to watch that. Again, we want to see if there's rotation in leadership. That could happen. So let's see. So the equal weight S&P, RSP, ETF dipped 0.4%, falling further below the 50-day line. But the equal weight Nasdaq 100 climbed 1.6% to a record high. So this reflects strength in growth stocks, especially tech growth names beyond the mega caps. And however, it's still lagging the Nasdaq, this week, right? So even though S&P 500 hit new high, but this equal weight index didn't. Instead, it kind of didn't do much this week, which is not good. So again, the breadth is very narrow on this front. And we look at equal weight Nasdaq 100, and you can see I even have a trend line here. It did break out from this formation, cup with handle pattern. You see how tight this is right here near the highs, and it broke out on Friday. So this could be a sign that growth stocks might start to move even more. We'll see. It looks really good, this pattern right here, especially after this tight trading. It could accelerate from here. Usually after a tight pattern, stocks tend to move a lot faster after, because all the people who want to sell here already got out. We'll see. So this is the equal weight Nasdaq, which is performing a lot better, because even though it's still underperformed the Nasdaq 100, but this equal weight means that there's more broader, more stocks, right, performing better. So the chance of so I think this is tradable. If this is continued, this will be a tradable rally here for this group of growth stocks. And also, if we look at IBD 50, which represent the IBD 50 growth stocks. Now this one, it's still in the base area. You can see we talked about this previously. It fell twice now, coming out. Hopefully this is the third time going for it. We'll see. It's still a little bit further away from the trend line. It's getting close though again. Friday was a good close. And it's also positive on Friday. So yeah, so it shows there's some strength now in some of the growth stocks here. So what happened on Friday? Well, we have a job report, and it seems to possibly bolster hopes for a rate cut by the Fed. And the reason being, U.S. economy added 206,000 jobs in June, which is a little bit higher than the forecast 189,000. But the unemployment rate also rise 4.1% from 4.0%. So it is the highest level now since October 2021. And also there's some revisions. This is also very important. In May, it was actually lower to 218,000 from the original 272,000. And April's gain was also reduced to 108,000 from 165. So those are very significant revisions. So that's why the market really like this news here. And Treasury yields dropped to 4.28%, and the 2-year also slipped to 4.6%. Here's the 10-year Treasury yield. It bounced quite a bit on Monday to like almost 4.5, like pretty close. And then it fall pretty hard the next 3 days, especially after Friday's job report. So this is good news as well for some of the growth stocks might like this news. And this is the downtrend right now on the Treasury. So it seems to continue this trend, which is also good news for interest rates, for long-term interest rates. So this is it's looking good. It's in this range bound channel line. So yeah, it has falling below all the moving averages here too. So yeah, really good sign that, you know, interest rate might be coming down. So yeah, that's good news for growth stocks area especially. But yeah, the Russell didn't do much from this, which is kind of surprising. So the US dollar also fall back this week. So that's, you know, a good sign for global economy. But at the same time, the Dow didn't react much, which is kind of weird. So that's kind of, yeah, that's not correlated for some reason. And then we look at oil, continues to make new high. This is a crazy cup pattern here. If it does break out 83, that would be pretty crazy. And we talk about this because it has a hard time breaking out this level around 83 now. It's like for a long time now. So I don't know what's going to happen. I suspect it will fail again, but who knows, you know. So we'll see. We're getting really close to this. So watch for that. So earnings season coming next week. We have JP Morgan, Wells Fargo, and Citigroup, the big banks reporting. And some of these are nearby points or early entries. So the financials, you know, let's just jump to it right now. So here's XLF, based on base pattern. I draw a trend line right here. It's been consolidating mostly near the middle range. And here's the breakout point. So we'll see how the banks are going to do. If we jump to the subgroup, the bigger banks group, very similar chart. Here's a little handle here. So we break above that, maybe right now we're at the bottom of the handle, so not that good sign. And then we have the regionals, also not that good. It's also trading near the bottom of the handle. So yeah, so the banks are kind of weaker right now, and it didn't do that well this week, right? And yeah, so the industrial and banks, they tend to move together. We look at XLI, probably was similar. You can see, yeah, same thing. You can see the trend line is down, and again, this is also a little bit dangerous because it's at the bottom of the base, and you know, you don't want to break this level here. If it break that lower end, it might go towards the 200-day. So so yeah, industrial banks, the cyclical are not doing as well. Yeah, if we look at energy, I think this week also pulled back, right? Even though oil hit, yeah, it kind of pulled back. See, even though oil hit new high, which is kind of weird. So that's also not good. So this is the still on the downtrend on energy stocks. So energy stock hasn't performed as well as the actual oil price, which is also weird. Yeah. So we have Delta Airlines reporting as well this week. Fed Powell will be testifying before Congress on Tuesday and Wednesday. So maybe he'll give some indication of what he will do in the future. I'm not sure, but that could, you know, move the market. June CPI inflation report is due on Thursday. And it is expected to slow to 3% year over year. So that's going to go down to 3. And the core is going to be at 3.4%, no change. And then we have producer price index due out on Friday. So that's what's happening. Okay, so this we already talked about, the yields, the oil, the copper. Bitcoin fell 10% to 56,000. So let's take a quick look at GBTC here. This is on a severe downtrend right now. It actually undercut the $50 low here on the ETF, which is not good. It actually kept down, so that's not good. Now it did reverse a little bit, but not much. So see how it handles around here. It is a little bit it has dropped a little bit too fast from this 10-day moving average, so I assume it will come back a little bit. But again, this will be the downtrend line you have to watch out for. because it could keep going lower, bounce back lower, and bounce back. So let's talk about the wicks for a second. So the wicks are again near the lows, around 12. We went below it a couple of times recently. Mark Minervini tweeted that he could see volatility picking up again soon, so something to pay attention to. I don't know, but it may. We'll see. So the IBD signal right now is still confirmed uptrend, 80 to 100% allocation. I just want to go through these comments here from IBD, like Nasdaq lead gains, small cap struggle. That's Monday. Tuesday, Nasdaq S&P hit all-time closing highs. Wednesday, Nasdaq S&P closed at record highs again. Friday, stocks hit new highs, but small caps lag, right? So again, there's a theme here. The small caps keep lagging. Overall picture, when we look at accumulation distribution, here we see number of stocks accumulated and how many stocks distributed. You can see there's way more stocks being distributed than accumulated. So again, this market is, as much as the index keep going up, the breadth is very weak. We're still seeing more stocks being sold than bought. Industry groups, similar, very similar. We're seeing more industry groups in general being sold and less bought. And when we look at the sector, you can see technology, I mean, it's okay. It's not as strong as last week, closing at 58 here. So this is the net number, so net accumulation minus distribution. So there's, so it's not huge amount of accumulation versus distribution, right? You can see retail not doing so well, industrial not doing so well, health also weak, commodities, it's okay, like around flat line. Financials also weakened a little bit by Friday. So again, by Friday we didn't have a very strong close for the week. So yeah, so this is continue to show the mixed picture of the market, despite the general two indexes and Nasdaq and S&P are showing strength, but really underneath, again, the mega caps, we'll talk about it very quickly here, they're really leading the market continue because of their weightings. But when you look under the hood, everything else is not really performing as well. So let's look at IB newspaper here. So S&P right now, again, accumulation distribution D minus. So as again, the index has gone up, but in general, it actually not looks worse than it is, right? Believe that index. See, D is not good, right? E is the worst, D is like second worst. We should be at A and B, but we're not seeing that. And then you look at the advanced decline line, you can see, despite we closed Friday strong, it actually went down on the advanced decline line here. So 1,300 stocks down, 1930 up. So again, more stocks being sold than bought. Nasdaq, same thing. A accumulation distribution at D minus. Again, index closed at new high, whereas the A and D line is actually going down. So again, 1,800 stocks up, down, and 1,611 stocks up. So again, you can see Nasdaq A and D line is actually at it's at a low again, really low. So despite some of the positive things we saw earlier, like QQEW breaking out, but again, in general, there's still more stocks being sold than bought. So that's not good. The Fed will meet on July 31st. Market future shows it's going to remain, keep at the same rate. Question is, what will they do for September? Now, because after the unemployment number jump, it looks like the market is now, 72% believe it will now drop in September, and then we go to November. November will remain at 50% at 5% rate, and December maybe another cut at 47%. So now the market seems to think there's Another cut in December, so September and December. Look at the Atlanta Fed GDP. Wow, it has dropped quite significantly here. I think last week we looked at it was 2.7%. Now it's at 1.5%. So yeah, that's a significant drop. So that's the Atlanta Fed estimate. In terms of sentiment, fear and greed index on CNN, 54% is neutral now, leaning towards greedy. Look at the timeline here. So it is spiking up a little bit here. Look at the AAII investment sentiment. So the bullishness actually, again, this is based on Wednesday. So it is 41%. So slightly lower than the week before. So this one dropped versus, but this doesn't count Friday, so slightly. So yeah, and then bearishness also went down 2%. So yeah, just a slight change. But yeah, we'll jump to the big cap tax and look at let's jump to semiconductors, SMH. Okay, so let's look at the semiconductor group as a whole here. We have a base here, and it broke out really strong uptrend, and then you can see it pulled back right here pretty strong as well to the 21-day. Found support. You can see it just ride this 21-day for like a week here or so, 4, 5, 6 sessions, and then finally it took off this week on Wednesday, and Friday is still holding tight. So it's not bad, looks good. So that's the semiconductor. So NVDA, very similar chart, right? You can see broke out right here, pulled back, and then tight trading, and then now it's trying to move. This Wednesday it moved, Friday fall back to the 10-day, so still looks okay. So we'll see if this uptrend can move. Now, if this uptrend fell, I'll be worried because yeah, I mean, the semiconductor, they tend to move together, right? So I wouldn't just be looking at NVIDIA, I would be looking at all the chip stocks, like the big ones, especially. But yeah, if they fail, they usually move together. So yeah, whether you own ARM, probably a very similar chart. So ARM is a little bit stronger. Yeah, Friday actually broke out. This is actually a surprise to me. I think there was some news with SoftBank that I can't remember what the news is, but anyhow, they still obviously own a lot of the shares, and yeah, so it definitely, there must be some comment about the company. Oh yeah, something about the company's making more aggressive move right now in terms of their what they're trying to do, something like that. Anyhow, it did well on Friday. It broke out. Definitely a buy. I did add some position there, looking really good right now. The other one, so this is a good sign, right? Because ARM is part of that group and it's already broken out. Taiwan Semiconductor is another strong one. These are both on my top 50, actually NVIDIA too. And here's also a new closing high, right? Again, I also add that to that shares there. Yeah, they all have similar chart, but this two stocks so far has even performed better than NVIDIA. Yeah, there's other ones we'll talk in the other next video. Please follow that. The smaller guys. Yeah, I think even AMD, I don't, it's not on my list, but I know a lot of people have this on their list. And AMD also broke out from this trend line right here. Very strong, smooth, right? Yeah, that's a nice flat consolidation. It's an early entry point. Looks good. Yeah. Well, it's not early no more because it did kind of make new high as well on that base. So AMD looks okay. Looks good. Yeah. Qualcomm, it's okay. It's all right. This was a bigger pullback than the other stock, so probably it's not as strong as the other guys. So here is IGV for the software group. This is another sector that's doing really, this subgroup here is really doing well. Broke out from this early trend line here. This is probably your first entry point. And then look at this. How many days now? 7 days up now. Very strong. I would say this is even stronger than SMH, but obviously this hasn't broke out yet. But Friday, it kind of tried to come out a little bit. It closed at the top. It probably did, yeah, 88.82 here, 88.93, so slightly above it. So yeah, this is a very strong trend line. But yeah, 7 days up is definitely, you know, so this is the action you want to see as it goes up. Even when it fall to the side, right? So it goes sideways, basically let the 10-day catch up, and then continue on, right? So that's what we want to continue to see. And also, we want to see a strong breakout as well, like, you know, because this is such a big group. Software is a huge group, lots of stocks in this group. We should see buying in the whole group, right? If this breaks out. Volume, you can see on the buy side is tremendous here, sell side very little. So this has been under huge accumulation. Like I say, I think this is the strongest group right now, even stronger than the chips. So who's in this group? Well, lots of software guys, right? Like let's look at, I think Meta is probably the #1 stock this week, because it broke out on Friday on really strong price and volume action. You can see right here, huge volume. Price action went up almost 6% on Friday. I mean, this is a strong breakout. So I did, you know, buy into it as well. So that's Meta. Then we have, let's go to, I think Amazon might be the second strongest right now. So that one broke out, I believe, last week, and it continued its run. So here's the base right here. It broke out right here last week, and this week it continued to try to make new highs. So now it's at 200. So, you know, hasn't moved much. About $8 from $191, $9 roughly. But it is making newer highs. So far looks good. Like, the one thing I always look for after a breakout is, what does it do after the breakout? Is it going sideways? Is it just kind of trading tight? Those are all good actions. You don't want it to fall back too hard to the buy point, or even below the buy point too much. Usually it depends where you set your stop. You could get triggered. So here's Google. Look at Google. It also make a big move. Like, this is what happened on Friday. All the mega caps make huge move. 2.5%, which is a big move when you look at this chart, right? You know, yeah, so this looks good as well. And again, there's way more buying volume than selling volume. So, yeah. Then we look at Microsoft. Wow, Microsoft looks really good, the chart. I like this one broke out the earliest. You can see right here. This is the early buy point, which I kind of miss. As you see, the green arrows where my buy points are, my buy-ins, and so I brought in a little bit late, and I keep adding to it. And this is, you know, still early from the breakout. It's around 9% now. So yeah, it hasn't moved a lot, but you know, again, Friday, big move, right? So all the mega caps move big on Friday, which is very interesting.